What's up, everyone? If you thought the streaming wars were intense before, you haven't seen anything yet. We're talking about an $82 billion battle royale that has Hollywood on the edge of its seat, Wall Street analysts pulling all-nighters, and yes, even the President of the United States is getting phone calls from both sides. In a stunning reversal that dropped just hours ago, President Donald Trump announced he's staying out of what might be the biggest entertainment industry showdown in history. Netflix versus Paramount. Warner Bros. Discovery, hanging in the balance, billions of dollars at stake, and Trump just said the Justice Department will handle it. Buckle up, because this story has more twists than a Christopher Nolan movie. Let's dive in. So first, let me paint the picture of what we're actually dealing with here. This isn't just another corporate merger story. This is about the future of everything you watch, from your favorite HBO shows to the DC superhero universe, from Harry Potter to your weekend Netflix binges. Back in December, Netflix dropped a bombshell announcement. They were acquiring Warner Bros. Discovery for $72 billion. Not the entire company, mind you. They were specifically going after the film studio HBO and the HBO Max streaming service. Under this deal, CNN and other cable networks would be spun off into a separate entity called Discovery Global. Netflix co-CEOs Ted Sarandos and Greg Peters were making power moves, positioning Netflix to become an absolute titan in the entertainment industry. Think about what this means. Netflix would control not just their original content, but also the entire Warner Bros. Film library, the DC Comics universe, HBO's prestige programming, and Max's streaming infrastructure. But here's where it gets spicy. Just 3 days later, on December 8th, Paramount Skydance came roaring back with a hostile takeover bid. And we're not talking about matching Netflix's offer. They went nuclear with a $108.7 billion all-cash offer. For the entire Warner Bros. Discovery, including all those cable networks, Netflix was leaving behind, leading Paramount's charge. David Ellison, son of Oracle billionaire Larry Ellison, one of the richest people on the planet with a fortune estimated at $270 billion. And here's the kicker. The Ellisons are known Trump supporters with deep connections to the former and now current president. Now, this is where things get really interesting, and why Trump's announcement today is such a big deal. Donald Trump has not been shy about commenting on this battle. Back in December, when the deal was first announced, Trump said he would be involved in the regulatory approval process. He acknowledged that both sides had been calling him, because of course they have, when you're trying to push through a deal that could reshape American media, you want the president on your side. Trump's relationship with the key players here is complicated, to say the least. On one hand, you've got Larry and David Ellison, the father-son duo running Paramount. Larry Ellison has been a prominent Trump supporter and is close with the president. Adding another layer of complexity, Trump's son-in-law Jared Kushner has financial ties to investment firms backing Paramount's bid, with Middle Eastern sovereign wealth funds pumping billions into the deal. On the other hand, Netflix CEO Ted Sarandos visited Trump at the Oval Office shortly before Warner Bros. Discovery's board recommended Netflix's offer. Trump has publicly praised Sarandos, calling him a fantastic man and noting the impressive growth Netflix has achieved. And here's a detail that raised serious eyebrows. Financial disclosure documents revealed that Trump purchased up to $2 million in bonds from both Netflix and Warner Bros. Discovery right after the deal was announced. Ethics experts immediately flagged potential conflicts of interest, especially after Trump said he'd be directly involved in regulatory decisions. At one point in January, Trump even retweeted an article titled "Stop the Netflix Cultural Takeover" that argued against the merger on political and cultural grounds. The article claimed Netflix was becoming a woke media monopoly and urged the Department of Justice to block the deal. Industry insiders saw this as Trump signaling support for Paramount. So Trump has been all over the map on this issue, making comments, retweeting articles, meeting with executives from both sides, which is why his statement today is such a dramatic pivot. In an exclusive interview with NBC Nightly News that aired today, Trump completely changed his tune. When asked about the Netflix-Paramount battle, here's what he said. "I haven't been involved. I must say, I guess I'm considered to be a very strong president. I've been called by both sides. It's the two sides. But I've decided I shouldn't be involved. The Justice Department will handle it. Let me repeat that. I've decided I shouldn't be involved." This is a complete 180 from his December statements where he explicitly said, "I'll be involved in that decision." When pressed about the competing arguments, Trump acknowledged the divide, saying there's a theory that one of the companies is too big and it shouldn't be allowed to do it, and the other company is saying something else. They're beating the hell out of each other, and there'll be a winner. Now, why is this reversal significant? because historically, presidents don't intervene directly in antitrust approvals, and it's typically handled by the Department of Justice's Antitrust Division and other regulatory bodies. Trump had been breaking that norm by suggesting he'd personally weigh in. By stepping back now, he's actually returning to more traditional presidential behavior, at least on this issue. Some analysts are interpreting Trump's decision to step back as favorable to Netflix, since they already have a deal in place with Warner Bros. Discovery's board. Without political interference, the regulatory review can proceed on its merits, and Netflix's existing agreement gives them a head start. But others point out that Trump's hands-off approach could simply mean he's letting the chips fall where they may, knowing that either outcome could benefit him politically or personally in different ways. Let's talk about what's actually on the line here, because this goes way beyond just corporate boardroom drama. If Netflix wins, they become an absolute powerhouse. We're talking about a company that would control a massive chunk of premium entertainment content. They'd have their own originals plus the entire Warner Bros. Film library, DC Comics properties like Batman and Superman, HBO's prestige programming, including Game of Thrones, successor shows, and established franchises like Harry Potter. Senator Mike Lee called out this concern at a recent Senate hearing, saying one might say that Netflix seeks to become the one platform to rule them all, or at least to exercise a significant amount of market dominance. Democratic Senator Elizabeth Warren went even further, calling the deal an anti-monopoly nightmare. Ted Sarandos testified before the Senate Judiciary Committee's Antitrust Subcommittee, arguing that the merger would actually expand competition, not reduce it. He insisted that his meeting with Trump was not specifically to talk about the deal and that he has confidence in this case on the merits. But if Paramount wins with their hostile takeover, the landscape looks completely different. David Ellison would control everything, not just the film studio and HBO, but also all those cable networks, including CNN, TNT, and the Discovery Channel. This creates a different kind of media giant, one that spans both traditional television and streaming. And speaking of CNN, that's actually a huge subplot here. Trump has long had contentious relationships with CNN, frequently attacking the network and calling for ownership changes under Netflix's plan. CNN would be spun off and not under Netflix's control. Under Paramount's plan, CNN would be part of the package, potentially under the control of Trump allies like the Ellisons. Some observers have suggested that Trump's endgame, regardless of which company wins, might involve getting CNN's editorial direction changed or bringing it under friendlier ownership. And it's a theory that adds a whole political dimension to what's supposed to be a business deal. Here's the reality. Trump stepping back doesn't mean this deal is sailing through smoothly. Far from it. Warner Bros. Discovery shareholders could vote on Netflix's proposed acquisition as early as March, according to reports. But shareholder approval is just the first hurdle. The Justice Department's Antitrust Division will conduct an intensive review. European Commission regulators will also weigh in. Since both companies operate globally, Paramount isn't going down without a fight either. After Warner Bros. Discovery's board rejected their offers in favor of Netflix's proposal, Paramount filed a lawsuit seeking to force Warner Bros. To hand over more information about how they evaluated the competing bids. This could drag out the process significantly. Meanwhile, Paramount amended their offer to make it even more attractive, going all cash and increasing the total enterprise value to over $108 billion. They're essentially saying, we'll pay more, we'll take everything, and we'll do it in cash. The battle has gotten personal, with both sides lobbying regulators, making their cases to shareholders, and fighting in the courts. When Trump said they're beating the hell out of each other, he wasn't exaggerating. Zoom out for a second and think about what this means for the entertainment industry as a whole. We're watching the streaming wars enter their endgame. The era of endless subscriber growth is over. Companies are now consolidating, looking to achieve scale and control over valuable intellectual property. This Netflix Warner Paramount Warner situation is just the most dramatic example. For consumers, consolidation could mean several things. On one hand, you might get better content bundled together. Imagine HBO shows seamlessly integrated into Netflix, or vice versa. On the other hand, fewer independent studios could mean less content diversity and potentially higher prices as competition decreases. For content creators, Hollywood is watching nervously. Fewer buyers for content could mean less bargaining power for writers, actors, and directors. But larger companies also have bigger budgets for tentpole productions. And for other streamers like Disney+, Amazon Prime Video, and Apple TV+, this is a wake-up call. If either of these deals goes through, the competitive landscape shifts dramatically. We could see even more mergers and acquisitions as companies scramble to keep pace. So where do we stand right now? Trump has officially washed his hands of direct involvement, saying the Justice Department will make the call. Netflix has a deal in place, and Warner Bros. Discovery's board backing. Paramount is fighting tooth and nail with a higher offer and a lawsuit. Regulators on both sides of the Atlantic are sharpening their pencils for what will be an exhaustive review process. This story is far from over. We're likely looking at months of regulatory review, potential legal challenges, shareholder drama, and who knows what other plot twists. This is the biggest entertainment industry battle in decades, and the outcome will shape what we watch and how we watch it for years to come. One thing's for sure, whether you're Team Netflix or Team Paramount, whether you think Trump made the right call or not, this is a must-watch drama that doesn't need special effects or a script. Reality has gotten more compelling than fiction. I'll be following this closely and bringing you updates as they happen. What do you think? Should Netflix be allowed to become even bigger? Is Paramount's offer better for competition? And did Trump make the right decision to step back? Let me know in the comments below. If you found this breakdown helpful, smash that like button, subscribe for more entertainment industry news and analysis, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any updates on this developing story. And until next time, I'll see you in the next one.